Hi everybody, today's lesson is lesson 10, so you should have your binder open to lesson 10 problem set. And today we are working on something called the distributive property. I'm going to write that up here. Distributive property. We learned the commutative property. This is the distributive property. And the distributive property is a little bit different and a little bit more complicated. So kind of bear with me here. When we did lesson 9, we started looking at arrays like this where you had some shapes that were like a dark gray and some that were a light gray. And that was sort of a preview of what you're going to see on this lesson. Okay, so look at problem number 1. The problem they want us to solve is 7 times 3. And the distributive property allows us to show that problem as a problem where we're solving two smaller facts and adding them together. So they're showing you here that they've made a smaller problem of 5 groups of 3, which are the dark gray circles, and 2 groups of 3, which are dark gray rectangles, and 2 groups of 3, which are the light gray rectangles. If we solve each of those and add them together, we can get the answer to 7 times 3. And that's what the distributive property is. In other words, it says it's taking the 3 in each group and distributing it across the 5 and the 2. And the 5 and the 2, if you add them together, make 7. So you might want to draw that arrow kind of like I did to show where that 7 came from. They could have shown it as 6 groups and 1 group because that makes 7, or 4 groups and 3 groups. But they chose 5 because if you think about it, multiplying by 5s is one of the easier ways to multiply. Okay? So, let's try to solve this problem. We've got a group of rectangles, 5 groups of 3. They were so nice, they told us what the answer was. We have to figure out the answer to 2 groups of 3. So if you count those up, you get 6 rectangles. Okay? Now we have to kind of work on the math part of it. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Down here, they've just taken the 5 times 3 that you saw here and rewritten it in the parentheses. Remember, those are the curvy lines on the outside of the multiplication problem. And they took the 2 times 3 and they brought it down here. We're going to add those together. So to do that, we put the answer to 5 times 3, which is 15. We're going to put the answer to 2 times 3, which is 6. We have to add 15 plus 6 to get the answer to 7 times 3. So 15 plus 6 equals 21. So we have to go back up here and write our answer. 7 times 3 is 21. This is a strategy that you will use in algebra as you get older to solve problems. And it's one way of solving a problem that might be easier than counting by 7s or counting by 3 7 times. Because the more times you have to add it up in your head or on paper, the more chance there is for mistakes. So let's try another one. This one is 8 times 3. So they broke it down into 4 times 3 and 4 times 3 because 4 plus 4 is 8. And I'm adding the 2 4s because of this plus right here. It's this group of 4 plus this group of 4. Okay? So let's write our multiplication problems for each smaller section. We have dark gray shapes here. Those are actually called trapezoids. How many rows do we have? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. 3 in each row for a total of 12. Down here we have the exact same picture except just light gray trapezoids. So again, it's 4 rows times 3. We already solved it. It's 12. That's what's nice about being able to divide it right in half and do 2 of the same problem because you only have to really solve it once. All right, now they've taken this group of 4 times 3 and written it here, and this 4 times 3 goes here. Well, what is the answer to 4 times 3? 12 plus, that comes from here. The answer to 4 times 3 again is 12. So just showing it a little bit differently than they did in problem 1, the whole problem is 8 times 3. So that's the problem I'm trying to solve. And if you add 12 and 12 together, you get 24. That's the answer to 8 times 3. Okay, so again, we're just breaking a big math problem into 2 smaller ones and adding their answers together. Okay, so let's see what's on the back. Slide this over, make it a little bigger. Ruby is making a photo album. She puts 3 pictures in each row. Use the multiplication sentences on the left. What? I think that should say right. Draw arrays to show the photos on the upper and lower parts of Ruby's album page. So this square here, this is the upper part of the page and the lower part of the page. And we have to use these multiplication problems. So if we think about what we know about multiplication, this tells us how many rows. This is how many are in each group, or the size of the group. And this tells us the total. So we need 6 total symbols in groups of 3. So let's start making groups of 3. Is that 6? No. Got to do another one. Is that 6? Yes. How many rows did we end up with? 1, 2. So our answer there goes 2. Okay. Down here, we also have something times 3, but this time it equals a total of 9. So we're going to do the same thing until we get to 9 x's. 1, 2, 3. That's only 3. 4, 5, 6. Only 6. I need 9. 7, 8, 9. All right, now I'm done. So I have 1, 2, 3 rows. Okay, we had to kind of figure out the rows by using what we knew about multiplication problems and what those factors and what the product or the answer or the total tells us. Okay? All right, last one. Ruby found the total number of pictures as shown below. Use the array you drew to show what she did. Okay, so let's see. This says 5 times 3 equals 6 plus 9 equals 15. There's 2 equal signs in there. Mathematicians can do that. Okay, so 5 times 3 is equal to 6 plus 9. Do you see any of those numbers up here? I see a 6, a 9. I see some 3s. I don't see a 5, except I know that if I add 2 plus 3, that's 5, right? So could it be that they added these rows together to get the 5? They all have 3 in each row. That's equal to the totals of 6 and 9. And when we add 6 plus 9, we get 15. Do we have 15 up here? This is 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Awesome. Okay, so now I know where those numbers are coming from. So here's what we can write. To find 5 rows of 3, which is 5 times 3, you can add 2 rows of 3 and, this is 2 rows of 3 is the top part of the page, and 3 rows of 3 for a total of 15. Okay, so what we did was we solved 5 times 3 by doing 2 rows of 3, which equals 6, and 3 rows of 3, which equals 9, for a total of 15. Okay, so now what I'd like you to do is work on homework for lesson 10. Use this problem set as your guide for where the numbers are coming from. This is part of how you can learn what we're doing here, okay? All right, good luck.